there is plenty to think about before you buy a home computer.
Electronic games being heralded by folks in the trade as this year's holiday bestseller.
Children have skipped school or stolen money to play the games.
I'll be looking at the electronic game craze.
And at the end of the tape, I'll be back to tell you how to safeguard your computer.
Yeah.
I don't often have the stream unmuted at the start of the stream, so I can't hear that.
Yeah.
But...
Welcome back to JamPack'd, a normal episode for once. There's just two of us.
Is it normal?
I mean, maybe?
Pretty sure, like...
Do we have a norm at this point? Like,
I don't know if this is normal, because I'm pretty sure you texted me in the middle of the night and said, hey, you want to do a last-minute thing? Because there's some shit going on.
in my defense, we haven't had a normal stream in like a month, and you know, we have a holiday next week, so I wanted to make sure we could actually just talk about stuff and not hotels and porn stars and whatever the heck happened last week or last time.
That was fun.
It was fun. I'm not gonna lie. Like it was an enjoyable show. It's just not what we normally have, so wanted a slight back to normalcy a little bit here, talk about some topics, you know how we do. If the music's too loud in chat, do let me know. I'm using the Stream Deck with Wavelink at the moment, so everything is different again. But that means I can easily change it. So yeah.
Good news. Everybody blames me.
Yeah. I don't think we have much for housekeeping this week. I did just have a Lost Saves video go up. Imzo, one of my editors, has been editing through some Halo 3 footage for me and just put together this absolutely insane montage with some backing tracks. So that was just a bonus that went ahead and posted today. Otherwise, I guess okay, I do actually have a couple things. So my Nebula show, print screen, officially, it got delayed from my last announcement. It's officially debuting November 21st, which is on Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So that's nebula.tv/eposvox. My camera is not even focused on my face here. Hello? There we go.
Which camera is it?
A7C.
Oh, okay.
And I don't have it upside down anymore, so the autofocus does a lot better, but this microphone is just so big in the frame that it sometimes is just like, I want to focus on that. Which, to be fair, yeah, but that's all right. So what's up, JRTV? Didn't expect to see that name in chat. So we do have print screen debuting 2 p.m. Eastern on Monday, nebula.tv/eposvox. Go check that out. I will spam that in the chat. And then regarding merch, I've alluded to this ever since we released it, but the current merch run is officially ending. We have I can't pull it up, but the blank VHS style desk mats and the pins and stickers, those are all a limited run, and we have a 20% off sale starting on Thanksgiving going through Cyber Monday, and that will be your last opportunity to pick it up. The run will end, they will vanish, they will cease to exist. So we went a little longer than the original limited run plan for it was, but that will be your last opportunity next weekend to pick one up for yourself if you want some from this run. And then we'll be trying some other strategies for merch in the future. But just letting you know, that's eposvox.gg/merch. Pop that link in chat as well. I think that's it for housekeeping. Do we just want to start rolling into the big topics? Because this week went to shit so quick.
You did a Facecam Pro review, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I guess I should cover... I have posted a couple videos this month. Like, only a couple.
I saw a couple questions about it, so...
Oh.
I swear I saw a Facecam Pro video. So.
Yes. So, after the RTX 4090 coverage, we went into Facecam Pro plus 6 other webcams I hadn't gotten to release or review yet this year. 4080 review, and then Stream Deck Plus review. So,
Steam
lots
Deck
of good
Plus.
stuff over there.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
It's coming to you soon.
You know it. I wish. Actually, I don't wish. I would have serious buyer's remorse at that point, but check out all these videos. Yeah.
All the latest and greatest on streaming tech. It's over on his channel. Go check it out.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So, I guess the big one is Twitter is apparently imploding.
Yeah. So.
So if you haven't been paying attention, which good for you.
Yeah, honestly. I've had a couple people like that. They're like, "What do you mean? What did I miss?" And
yeah. But
fair enough.
Paying attention, Elon Musk has purchased Twitter and seemingly decided to torpedo it immediately.
This might be a historical fastest destroying of a multi-billion-dollar company ever. Like I've just been watching like a couple months ago the We Worked documentary and the series with Jared Leto and Anne Hathaway in it, and then the Theranos one. Like all of those were big explosive things, but it took years to crumble away. This has been 3 at most 3 weeks. Like
yeah, I'm having a hard time determining like how much of it is trolling, how much of it is real. It seems to be pretty real. I mean, I think the rough count on the amount of employees they had was like 10,000 or something, and they shed like 8,500.
I think more than that with the most recent wave too.
And then under a month.
Yeah.
I don't. That's not good.
Yeah.
I don't know how you recover from something like that. And like I saw some notes. There was an interesting comment that I had seen. I have to watch his video, but Devin Nash made some interesting comments about the state of Twitter and what he thinks about it. And he said that it's probably not going to go away overnight, which that's unlikely. But the comments that the comments that I found interesting, whereas like, well, with all these employees missing, there's going to be a huge cash influx to, fund maintaining it. Well, to that end, maybe not.
Yeah.
Because they have to pay out 3 months of severance. So.
Yeah, he was firing a big wave of people up front. So allegedly, I haven't gotten, everything's moving so fast, but allegedly he was firing a lot of the initial people, the like moderation board, the ex-CEO supposedly and stuff like that with cause, so he didn't have to give them their stock buyouts, which is really, really bad if so. I don't know 100% if that was legit, but like it was everywhere whenever he first bought it because people thought it was real funny for some reason. But otherwise, yeah, he was giving 3 months severance to everyone, so that is not cash inflow. And he was doing all that because Twitter had a crap ton of debt, both from like just generally not being profitable on top of, like, from what I understand, by buying it more expensive than the company had valuation for, they were effectively inherently in debt. Like, I'm not an economist, so, but like the explanation I was given was he overpaid by like $30 billion, and the company didn't have that to pay, like to, like, I don't know. And so
he took on debt.
Yeah, he took on debt, and so it's not like they magically just have a ton of money.
He took on debt to pay for this debt.
Yeah.
So it's debt on top of debt.
Right. And so
he's desperate to find some kind of profit here. Like where that's going to come from, who knows? But the last development was there was a deadline of I think 4 p.m. or something yesterday. I don't know what the exact time was, but he put out an ultimatum and said, "Hey, be prepared for things to get harder."
Yeah, we're going to crunch and go into hardcore mode after we just fired everyone who actually does the jobs you're expecting to be relied on.
Yeah. And it's
and
like,
no
if
one
you're
said
not
yes.
prepared to do that,
yeah.
then leave.
Supposedly not a single employee actually said yes. And the only people that are like really sticking around are the people on visas that can't leave because they have to work to like maintain their visa, which sucks.
Yeah.
They got locked out of the buildings yesterday, potentially for the entire weekend, right as the World Cup is starting, one of the biggest Twitter events ever. And just in general, like, I think a lot of people don't take it seriously when these news waves come out because it does take a little while for the thing to fall apart. But like, if you were looking at Down Detector yesterday, Twitter was having a lot of outages. I had multiple waves where I could not even DM people as I was trying to get contact information shared, things like that. And it's going to be one of those things where when, according to ex-Twitter engineers and stuff, once the right thing breaks, it's just gonna turn off. And according to some documents that came out for last year when they had a big crash and it almost went completely down, they don't have a plan to boot it back up like a cold boot once it goes down. Like they said, they had barely kept it up in the first place, and if it went down again, they weren't sure they'd be able to get it back up. And that was with the entire engineering staff there, not with everyone maintaining critical infrastructure just gone. And that's all after all of the like dumbass decisions like turning off the system that sends out 2FA codes. I went to request the download of my Twitter archive, and I can't get a 2FA code sent to my text because they turned off that service, and a lot of people were just locked out of their accounts. Now I could use the email client for that.
That's
but like,
real?
Yeah, no, that was real.
I thought that was a meme because I saw that thing. It's like, hey, this is Gary from Twitter.
Yeah.
You want your code? Like, I thought that was
No, that was
probably fake,
that was a meme.
but-
Yeah, that was a meme. But like, genuinely, last night as I was listening to the big Twitter space where everyone, like a bunch of journalists and stuff, were talking about it, I went to request my Twitter archive and did a 2FA via SMS, and it's like, we can't send you a code. I'm just like, oh, okay. It did work over email, to be clear, but I don't know for logins if everyone has that option or whatever. And so, and it remains to be seen if I'll actually get my archive. You know, there's a delay on that. So,
My gosh, I didn't even know. I genuinely did not think that they would turn off core features like that.
yeah, microservices don't matter, bro.
Jeez. Yeah, I'm looking at the down detector thing now that you've mentioned it. And also, it was funny when you said it yesterday on Twitter. I immediately DM'd you, but
Yeah.
from the web app. I was like, I wonder if this is broken. It went through, you saw it, but the notifications popped up on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I opened it, it immediately crashed the app.
I had
And it
that happen
crashed
about
every single time.
I don't even have notifications on, but I had that happen about 3 times where I click on the chat on my phone and the app just vanishes, and it's just like, nope, can't do it.
Supposedly the internal version of Twitter, that the employee version of it, supposedly that one is like completely like broken at this point. There's no
amazing.
real evidence to prove that, aside from just people just commenting on it. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. But damn.
Yeah.
Elon paid cash for Twitter.
Yeah, got a super
27
chat.
billion is what he paid, coupled with 9% he already owned. So turning a profit isn't the burning goal immediately.
I mean, it absolutely is for him. He's made that very clear over and over. Like, that has been his entire communication, is he wants to make it profitable, and that's why he's cutting off microservices, canceling all the external programs like Review, their newsletter service, and all this stuff. And that was part of the motivation behind firing the thing. And then he literally sent out memos saying, hey, we might be bankrupt within a couple weeks. Good luck.
27 billion? He acquired it for 44 billion.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's complication to that. It might be like when you win the $200 million lottery, but you only get like 96 or something. I don't know. I try not to pretend I know about economics where I don't. Nobody
Fair
has
enough.
seen
I'm not
a
gonna
change
fact
on.
check it on stream either. 'cause-
And see, there's people like that. Nobody has seen a change on Twitter. They were overstaffed. Plenty of people have. People are reporting issues every day. The website has been going down on Down Detector constantly the past few days. We were just describing issues we've had for it. Will was just talking about how his feed is full of just like not the people he's following anymore. I've had
Yeah, that's
tons of
actually
issues
the,
replying to people.
That's actually like the number one thing I've noticed is since the introduction of these changes with Twitter Blue is my feed is just a mess. It's useless. It's almost completely useless to me now. Like before they'd made all these changes where they were suppressing other people and pumping up other posts, I would see exactly who I was following. I'd see you, I'd see Greg, I'd see, you know, Cliff, Alex, Lance, etc., etc. And you know, occasionally I'd get, you know, recommendations from mutuals. It was just the way it's supposed to work. And you know, you get ads filtered in there every now and again. But now I'm scrolling through it, and like more than half of this stuff is dumb meme pages that just like paid to be verified. And I don't want to see this. I don't want to see. I don't want to see homeless fights. I don't want to see shit reposted from TikTok. I don't want to see thirst traps. Like, you know, there's a time and a place for it, and it's not in my feed. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
So,
Like anyone who says people
I-
haven't seen changes, like it's just objectively not true. There's been complaints everywhere at this point. Like it's affecting normal users.
me subscribing is not going to fix that either.
Yeah.
Because it's the people I follow are not subscribed, so I'm not going to see them.
Right.
I'm getting all this other crap.
Yeah, the paid verification thing was a problem, the wrong solution to the wrong problem, and it doesn't fix the actual problem for the users that are having them. It's pretty wild.
Not you, Greg, in the chat. Although you are someone I follow. I was
poor
talking about,
Greg.
I was talking about drummer Greg, Mr. Greggles.
Yeah. I saw Nadeshot commenting that he liked the new verified system as his verified tab is more active now. Well, that's not useful. Like,
that's not useful.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Straight
anyway.
Because like if I don't follow, first of all, I don't follow that many verified people. I don't have a verified tab, and if I get verified, it doesn't fix the problem I'm having.
Yeah.
Which is I'm seeing people I don't want to see.
Yeah.
So.
And I just want to make it clear, and I know this is gonna bother people, but I want to make it clear when there are people who are like, I think Elon is first trying to right the ship before raising sails and moving forward. Theoretically, yes, but you cannot give merit to any of that when you actually look at the things he's done. Between immediately just revenge firing a bunch of people, as well as laying off critical infrastructure people, and then begging them to come back because he didn't realize they weren't needed, because his way of firing people was to sort them by number of lines of code written and not actual value to the company, doesn't know what he's doing. Then the verification debacle, every aspect of that, down to the fact that he negotiated the price of it with Stephen King, who is a billionaire and doesn't actually care about the price, so he clearly missed the point, to asking how the business model should work from random YouTubers because he doesn't know. There is no merit to his ability to right the ship. That's the Kool-Aid. That's the whole thing. This whole narrative that he's this secret genius the whole time. Even his degree in physics was fake, as we are finding out recently. Like, every aspect of it is this built-up online cult persona that doesn't exist. So yes, he is absolutely trying to right the ship before making Twitter 2.0, but he has instead ran it into an iceberg. Question
from JRTV. Are you joining the mass exodus to Mastodon? Great question. Thank you for asking this.
Segue! I need like an overlay to pop up for that.
The sub topic on this one is Mastodon.
Yeah.
Like what is this thing?
Here, I can actually do a screen share for that. Let's do that. I think that'll make it easier. So I have a whole video coming. Obviously this is delayed. I also theoretically have a PC World article coming, but whether that comes out in a timely manner is honestly a question. Mastodon, you can go ahead.
I think people need to so you're gonna Mastodon at a very surface level can be a Twitter replacement for you.
Yes.
Very surface level. And I only say that because it's not they're not really one-to-one. Yes, you can use it one-to-one, but it's a little more nuanced than that. The best comparison that I have seen so far is like Reddit. Like you sign up on an instance on Mastodon, which is basically a subreddit, and then you can venture out to see all of the other stuff that Mastodon has to offer. Like you can see it all from your instance. You can subscribe to things from your instance, but you can also join those instances and be a part of them. So it is what you make of it. If you want it to just be a one-to-one of Twitter, you can do that. You can replicate that experience almost exactly, but it's a little bit more than that. So,
yeah, it's like Twitter mixed with email or subreddits. Subreddits, the only flaw with that comparison is just that Reddit itself is still a monolithic entity that is controlled by their drive to be nice to companies and make profits and whatever, whereas Mastodon is all about everyone having their own separate email host.
There is some stuff that's like very not user friendly about Mastodon, and that's no one's ignoring it.
Yeah. So a lot of people keep making the like, it's got the year of the desktop or year of the Linux desktop energy. And realistically, it is not that inaccessible. If you have used the internet prior to 2012, where there were forums or email hosts or IM services, it is the same concept. You just sign up in one place and then you chat with everyone else. The only real UX problems come into like the specific apps. Like if you use the official mobile app, it doesn't easily show you the feed where everyone else is. So a lot of people join and they're like, wow, it's really quiet. And it's because that app isn't great. And that really sucks. Like, that really sucks, and that needs to be worked on. And there's a little UX things like that. Like, if you click on someone's link to their profile on a separate instance, it's going to ask you to log in to that instance, and you're going to be like, what the hell? I don't have an account here. Little things like that absolutely need fixed very quickly. And I can't, like, I'm honestly shocked that they hadn't. I'm told that they used to be better about that, so I don't know. Clearly, it's an ongoing change. But, like, the overall experience, if you have used Twitter, you can understand Mastodon, and it's gonna work the same for you, even if you should theoretically tweak your usage a little bit. But, like, it's not like it's gonna be this foreign thing you've never looked at before.
Yeah, I would just, if you're interested in checking it out, don't be afraid of it. Just, you know, whatever instance. Here's a great, if there's someone on Twitter that you follow and they said, hey, I'm going here, go to that instance and sign up there. Just sign up there. It's fine. There's no, you can move to another one if you want to. Once you figure out what that even means, you can move to another one. Don't worry about what it actually means, because you will be able to replicate the same exact experience. You'll be able to do it here. I mean, look, he's showing you a thing that looks exactly like TweetDeck right now.
This is free TweetDeck. And the cool thing is, if you sign up on a specific instance and you're like, hey, I don't like what the people are doing here, I don't like the people that are here, whatever, you can move your entire account with all your followers, all your follows, all of that. You can move it to another thing, and then your old profile will just redirect to your new one too, which is really cool. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I already told everyone this one. It'll just redirect to your new one. Like, that is freaking wild. None of that your ninjas in another castle bullcrap like with Twitch.
We got another comment here. I read from Anthony Goodley. I rarely use Twitter, so I don't give much of a fuck about it either way. I would like to see him fix its flaws, but if it crashes and burns, I don't care. Yeah, I understand that. But also, a lot of people use Twitter for work. They've built their careers around it, which good and bad. But like, and also, this is a massive company where people are losing their jobs over it. So like, on the one hand, I want the hell site part of it to go away, but on the other, I don't want the entire platform to go away. It does have a purpose. It serves good. There is some good here. It's just, how do we get back to that point?
Right. It's really tough. Thanks for the sub, by the way, Emicat. It's really tough because ultimately, I fundamentally believe that platforms like Twitter and Facebook have overall contributed a lot of harm to society and whatever, and that can be a whole a whole pedestal thing that I'm not going to get on right now. But I think it's been toxic and bad for a lot of people. But it has been incredibly good for a lot of people. I was listening to this big Twitter space last night. I don't think it had a name. It was just with a bunch of like big people, and like Hank Green was sitting in chat.
Had a name.
Oh, did it?
I think it was called Twitter Was a Mistake.
Oh yeah, Twitter was a Twitter was a website.
Twitter was a website. There was another one called Twitter Was a Mistake.
Well, and people were bringing up like Black Twitter has been a very unique element since Twitter has been introduced that no other website has really facilitated, despite like attempts. And the same thing with disabled Twitter. Like, unlike TikTok, where you have to like show yourself.
I was actually just about to say TikTok a little bit there, as some stuff. Like
I think
that.
TikTok plays a bigger role than for people of color than it does for disabled people. But disabled TikTok isn't the same because you're expected to show yourself and do all these vulnerable things that you don't have to on Twitter with your anonymity. You can maintain. I'm trying to figure out what you're doing.
There was something on the top of the lens.
Okay. With the, like, on Twitter, you get some degree of anonymity and whatever. And so, like, during the pandemic, Twitter played a incredibly valuable role with regards to disabled people finding the resources they need during the pandemic, getting the support they need, and things like that. And I mean, there are still like states and I think entire countries that use Twitter for their like emergency alert systems because they never built out their own because it was cheaper to license Twitter, which is insane and just incompetent. But that's also a problem too, because when it shuts down, here's something I want to point out for the people that are just like, it's not going to happen overnight. From what the engineers have said, supposedly, like the former engineers and the people there, when the right system breaks, it's just gone. It's not going to be like, oh, this part stops working. Like, eventually, the right break will happen, and it will just vanish. And so if you're not prepared for it...
This has an actual term. It's called a thundering herd. It's when in infrastructure, when something collapses, it starts taking out everything in its path as it's just moving around from different pieces of the infrastructure. Those engineers, if we're going to believe them, which I think we should, they're basically saying that they're in a HasCon situation where if something goes down, a thundering herd will come through and just knock out Twitter, and they won't be able to raise it back up because it just keeps looping. This is something that actually occurred earlier this year with Rogers. if you recall, their internet situation just completely shit the bed.
Yeah.
They had a situation just like that, and you saw how devastating it was with a fully staffed team.
Yeah. And that's all the people that are saying, well, like, there's still been people in the chat that are just like, he'll find a way to turn it around. You cannot turn around an infrastructure this big and this, like, monolithic with what's described as less than a skeleton crew and things breaking every day. There is no turning that around. And that's the big thing. Like, he just said he's trying to find a new acting CEO. What person's going to take over as CEO for a ship that's inherently dying? Like,
especially now.
Like, who's gonna be like, yeah, I want to be the one whose face is now attached to this sinking ship? And this is why, also, just again, I'm trying not to be too preachy, but I really want, like, I want to get these ideas down. This is why, like, major corporate-backed social media presences don't make sense, because they are inherently going to be these singular things that once they go, they're gone. We saw that with Mixer. We saw it with all these attempts at YouTube clones. Whereas a more spread out internet ecosystem, even if it's not inherently a decentralized platform. So Mastodon is decentralized in that everyone can host their own server. If one goes down, you're still, like, the system still works. It would be basically impossible for the system itself to just die. Even if it's not that, having people distributed just on more smaller websites in general is a healthier way to go, both for information spreading and validation, as well as literally when the system stops breaking, everything won't go down. And so that is what makes me excited about Mastodon and all these other services, is if we can get back to how things were pre-Twitter and Facebook dominating the world, where we're spread out a little bit more, we have more niche communities focused, and we're not just there to argue with each other on this one platform that you pull the wrong brick and the whole thing crumbles. I think the internet will literally be healthier.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I suspect that if
not Web 3.0. It doesn't need crypto. It doesn't need blockchain. None of that helps anything. No. It'll be Web 4, I guess, which doesn't involve any of that.
Other stream.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I wonder, is one of the existing, like, mega platforms going to just try and swoop in and take that, like, the text-based timeline that Twitter is? I wonder if someone's going to like, YouTube could do it with communities. TikTok could absolutely try to do something like that.
I'm surprised that, other than big companies move really slow, but I'm surprised someone hasn't already been like, we have this feature. Now, Tumblr's been running ads, but Tumblr is, like, memeing on it. They're not even built to support the quantity of people that are on Twitter right now. Like, they keep going down every time there's a mass wave of subscribers, because they're owned, by the way, they're not owned by Yahoo anymore. Everyone, like, a lot of people don't know this, but they were bought by WordPress. So they're slightly more independent again. But they're not built to hold Twitter. But yeah, I do think we're going to see, just like we saw with all the fleets and the stories and all of that cloning each other, and now all the TikTok cloning, like, we're going to see a bunch of tech stuff show up, like, by Christmas, probably. Like, everyone's going to try to get that bag.
I just saw somebody say, I want MySpace back.
SpaceHey.
First of all, what's it called?
SpaceHey.
There you go. You can go there if you want the original one. Also, I did go to myspace.com.
Yeah, it does exist.
It's still there.
It's a music site, but it exists.
But you can sign up. Yeah. You can do some stuff there if you want.
Technically never went away. But yeah, this is SpaceHey. I found it a couple years ago. Oh, I don't have my 2FA code. Okay, but it's basically built like MySpace. If we click on random profiles, like, you can do the whole CSS thing. Of course, these new people aren't going to have it, but, like, you can do the cool, crazy, like, customize your entire page with crazy CSS and music. Of course, I'm not going to find examples, but
if I can't have crappy MIDI Limp Bizkit playing on my profile, then I'm not doing it.
Like, this has freaking, like, film grain and animation. Like, this is perfect. It's MySpace.
Yeah, if you want it, it's there.
There's also apparently NeoCities, which is recreates GeoCities, which is just fascinating to me.
I hope they grab the archive of the original GeoCities.
Oh my God, yeah.
I almost said GeoShitties. If they grabbed the original archive and just posted that up, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Google Plus needs to make a comeback. No.
No. I mean, it shouldn't.
No.
And that's the thing. That's another example of I don't want Google to host another service that I'm interested in because they shut them all down. Like, why would you Google Plus hosted by someone else, that concept, whatever, that's fine. I'm just saying, like, that is another example of, like, theoretically, Google has infinite money and has no reason to shut, like, especially smaller stuff down and could host things on charity forever. But they don't. They just shut them down. Even things that are successful, they just shut down without warning. Like, those are the kinds of things you don't want to happen.
If people can get it out of their heads that OnlyFans is a porn site, because it's not just about porn, but if they can get that out of their head, that could be a viable replacement for Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, OnlyFans wants that to happen. They want you to, like, I just got an email, I think, from them asking if I was interested in making content there, and I'm like, excuse me? Like
exactly, though. But that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, people have this association. It's like, oh, OnlyFans, porn. Like, it's like the only thing that they can think of that's on it. But there are plenty of
there's comedians with podcasts and stuff on there. Shout out to Andy Lippy with the raid. Ayo, duckies. Thank you for stopping by. Google Buzz was fun. I remember Google Buzz. That was a moment. I feel like that lasted all of 2 weeks.
Google Buzz.
I used it as like
Google
my
Buzz
RSS newsfeed or whatever for a bit. I remember that.
Google Buzz and Google Wave.
I come in here to the word porn. I'm staying. Well,
listen,
y'all missed last show.
Yeah, go watch the last episode.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of porn talk on the. Well, there's a lot of porn words being said.
Yeah. Put it that way. Your political bias is showing. Please tell me how talking about employees of a company getting fired is political bias. Please explain to me how that's political in the first place, nevertheless biased. Please.
Listen,
I want to be educated.
We just went over the technical the technical reasons why Twitter could collapse and why it's bad, man. Like, if you're gonna bring political bias in here, just so you can say, "Oh, I'm unsubbing," then good, get out of here. We don't want you here.
Please explain to me how talking about the technical infrastructure of a website and
like we just
people getting fired is political.
We had people like this in the Discord last night where they were talking about how, like, echo chamber. Like, we don't care, man.
According to another Amazon.
Echo, stop.
Your echo went off.
Yeah, I changed the trigger name on that thing just so I wouldn't accidentally do it, because like I was constantly watching videos in here where someone would say its name, and then I went and just did it anyway.
That's amazing. Okay. Kudo Beats was copy pasting from that comment anyway, but like, at least it gave me the opportunity to say that. Like, regardless. That was hilarious.
Good news. I received word after Twitter dies, all the cool kids will be hanging out in my YouTube comments. That is good news, man. That's great news.
Actually, and that's a good segue. If I was quicker to pull that up, Resolve 18.1 just released, and my boy in the chat, Patrick Sterling, just released an awesome video. Actually, he's released a few now about it. If you want to go check them out, this will be a minor, tangent, but it's a pretty big update. It's an 18.1 update, but honestly, it should have probably been a full version because it has so many new features. They introduced, now they're not perfect yet. They need a lot of work apparently, as it messed up my Elgato video, but they introduced 2 new AI audio features. One being an incredible AI vocal isolator, which filters out background noise and stuff better than, as far as I can tell, RTX Voice and things like that do, even though it leverages similar hardware, which is awesome. And then the other one, which I'm more excited for, since we obviously have other solutions for background noise removal and stuff like that, is the AI dialogue leveler. So you don't have to do crazy compressors or limiters to keep all your dialogue at the same level. So I did this on both of my videos that released this week. One of them turned out fine, which was the NVIDIA one. No one said anything about that one. But then in the Elgato one, the left channel kept randomly getting like static in it. It wasn't in the source audio because I don't record stereo mics. It was a, singular shotgun mic. But the left channel, whatever it was doing with the AI, like glitched out, kept getting this weird little bit of static every once in a while. And on top of that, there's a bunch of posts in the Reddit and the forums talking about, like, first of all, it shows up on the free version when it's not supposed to. And then if you add it from the edit page instead of the actual audio workflow page, it, like, doesn't work half the time. So it needs work, as all AI tools do when they're first introduced. But it's pretty great on top of a wide gamut of features. Again, just go check out Patrick's videos if you want to find out. But, like, Fusion performs way faster, so all of his presets and effects will run faster. The face tracking to remove my crazy eye bags when I record at 4 a.m. runs so much faster. And they finally fixed... For years now, Resolve did not work if you used fractional scaling on Windows. So I use a 4K monitor at 150 or 125% UI scaling, and Resolve would just either force you to 200% or stick at 100%. And if you tried to override it in Windows with the little, override system setting, half of the little pop-up menus would just break. And so I've been dealing with that for years now, and they finally fixed it. So it looks nice and sharp, and those menus still work. And it is one of the best updates they have ever released. So... I hope they fix up the AI stuff soon. And, of course, AV1 support for NVENC. Hopefully, ARC and Radeon support comes by the end of the year, too.
Have you had a chance to try it on iPad? Or is that only exclusive to the M2 iPads? M1?
Did it actually come out yet?
I thought it was already out.
Oh, I knew it was announced. I have not tried it. I assumed it was exclusive to the M1, M2, since I'm on the A19 or whatever. But I will download it.
I still really enjoyed editing those videos. Like I did when I tried to do that for a year. I really enjoyed that process.
The file management was just the big thing. Like,
yeah, because you couldn't get anything on there without like airdropping to it, or sending something to your iCloud. And at that point, it's like, I'm gonna pay for 2 terabytes of iCloud space just so I can airdrop stuff to myself.
So I'm doing that now, and it still sucks. Like, I now have all of my art assets synced up to my iCloud with a 2 terabyte sub, so I could use it on my Mac Mini and my iPad and stuff. And, like, it's still not a great workflow. But, like,
it's a USB-C port on the iPad. Let me just plug in a...
Well, even they do. Like, the new ones have Thunderbolt, but the file manager is still trash. And it's not... The file manager itself is fine. It's the individual applications. Like, some apps will only access your camera roll. Some apps will only browse the random folders. Like, the ability to view folder structures and stuff in individual applications is just so broken that it is impossible to really find and manage things. And so
Mary answered my question. She said it's not out yet, but it
only
will be M series. So. It's just a little annoying.
Yeah,
but
especially because for most intents and purposes, the last couple iPad Pros before the M series had almost the exact same hardware and capabilities. Like, the M1 was not that much faster than my A19 or whatever. Like, that's frustrating. And it's still Apple Silicon. It's just not M.
I have the Pro before the one you have.
Yeah.
And I was still editing in 4K 60 on that thing.
Like, it has most of the same accelerators. It has most of the same performance. And I get, like, they're going to segment or whatever. I just feel like if I didn't know M1 was coming, and so I feel ripped off that I got it when I did. But I don't know.
We bought these for Diablo Immortal. And then it took 5 years to come out.
Also that. And now I don't even play it on there because I keep downloading games, and I want to. I played it for like
PC.
I played it for like 4 weeks and then stopped. And then I kept trying to play it on PC. Well, I kept trying to play it on PC, and there was all sorts of like controller sync issues where it would just start walking on its own and stuff. So chat in Twitch asking, why is DaVinci Resolve free? Do you think they will turn it to a subscription model at some point? So DaVinci Resolve is free, but it's also $300. They have a free version that has limited in terms of performance. Like, so they have
$300.
Yeah, $300. Resolve's the free version is missing some higher end features that only studios and people who would pay anyway would need, and then some of the performance is limited because they rely on the operating systems decoders and encoders for H.264 and H.265, which is what most consumers are going to use anyway. And so just upgrading gets you significantly better performance in the first place. But I don't think they'll ever turn it to a subscription model because it's a big deal to them to just have it purchasable. They used to just have USB dongles you could activate. Now you actually get 2 activations with the key. But they make all their money back from big studios that do enterprise licensing or buy their big multi-$1,000 control panels or their hardware. Like, they included for a while DaVinci Resolve with all of their cameras and other accessories because they're a hardware company. They're not really a software company. DaVinci was a whole separate thing that they just kind of acquired and then facilitated. And so they make all of their money through their markups on their crazy hardware. It's like their ATEMs that they release a new one every 6 months when they think of a new feature instead of making a mature product. Those kinds of things. And so
Theo in the Twitch chat says like Reaper, better to get widespread adoption for free. There's another NLE out there, Hit Film. That's what I use because I'm a idiot.
I hear good things about Hit Film for like what it does.
Hit Film's a perfectly capable NLE. I've been using it for a long time. I've been using it since version 4, which is actually the one that I went and purchased like the full Pro Suite for.
They have a bunch of really accessible like VFX stuff too.
I think the company name that they are now is called FX Home. I'm gonna say if anyone from FX Home sees this, please re-enable the ability to authenticate Hit Film 4 keys. I can't install it. You can't activate it.
That sucks.
I paid for it and I can't use it.
Once again, piracy wins.
Yeah, so I went ahead and just jumped up to the like latest and greatest thing that they call Hit Film Creator, and it's nice, but like I shouldn't have had to do that. But yeah, Hit Film's a great alternative if DaVinci Resolve puts you off for any reason.
Yeah. As Technical Gaming points out in the chat, it is basically a gateway to their hardware. Like, that is their goal, is to get you on their hardware. And to be fair, that's effectively what I did. When I first switched to DaVinci Resolve, it's because I bought my cinema camera, the Ursa, and that was the only way to edit Blackmagic RAW at the time. And Blackmagic RAW is still, to this day, my favorite RAW codec container, whatever. And it is their way of getting you in there. And to be fair, they make some really good hardware for a lot of cases. I would still, like, I would have gotten a Blackmagic Pocket 6K or 6K Pro or whatever if it wasn't for the fact that they don't have autofocus. Like, I needed to switch to a camera that had autofocus, and so that was it. But like, that is why I switched, and for a lot of people that's the gateway into getting the ATEMs or to getting their cameras or trying B-RAW, or they have a recorder like the Atomos recorders that records to Blackmagic RAW from a lot of cameras now, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, Vegas is still around. It's owned by Magix now. They still, like, it's still kind of, you know, in certain circles.
It looks exactly the same.
Yeah, it looks exactly as it did in 2011. Like, my tutorials from 2011 from Sony Vegas Pro 11 still apply to Magic Vegas Pro 22 or whatever. But like, it's still in certain circles like a joke of an editor compared to other ones. But they do add a lot of like advanced features. Like, they had ProRes on Windows before Premiere did. Resolve still doesn't.
That's so funny. Like,
they had InVink stuff quickly. They had Blu-ray authoring like nailed for a long time, whereas most people didn't bother even implementing Blu-ray burning.
I remember, like, when I first made a YouTube channel, and I'm like, wait a minute, what are people using to edit? Like, what are all these people that are doing like Call of Duty commentary things? What are they using here? And they all said the same thing: Sony Vegas.
Yeah.
And now it's a joke.
Yeah. It was just because it was the easiest thing to pirate. Like, you could say, hey, download Sony Vegas, and it was like the first thing on the Pirate Bay, and like, that was it. Like, that was honestly the big deciding factor. But while we're talking about subscription services and software, I'm gonna jump to a lower down topic, in that Affinity just released their V2 suite of programs. And originally I was kind of pissed at this because I had just, like, I've been really getting into Affinity stuff lately. If you're unaware, Affinity is a suite of software that competes with Adobe. So they have Designer that competes with Illustrator, they have Adobe Photo to compete with Photoshop, and then they have Adobe Publisher to compete with Photoshop and Adobe InDesign. And they're super cheap. Originally they were like $40. You buy it once, you can activate it on any number of computers, whatever. And then they had great iPad apps for 2 of the apps. They had the Mac version, but you had to buy it separately on Mac and Windows. And they had actually increased the price of the original. And so I had just bought the $55 version versus the $40 I had paid on Mac to get it on my Mac. And then they announced this. And at first I was kind of pissed. I was like, why did you just pull this rug? Like, why aren't you just updating V1? But what they're actually offering here is huge, because at least until December 14th, I don't like that they're moving it, but I think the increased price isn't that bad. But at least until December 14th, you pay $100, you get all 3 apps on all 3 platforms as a perpetual lifetime license. And so that is already a better deal than V1 was, because with V1, you paid $40 for one app, you paid $40 for one app, you paid $40 for one app, and then you paid $20 for the iPad app. This is immediately cheaper, and you just get it all and don't have to worry about it. Now, I don't know how many years V2 will be supported or whatever, but it is really freaking cool that they are doing this universal license concept. And the apps are pretty cool. They're lacking a lot of the new like AI features that Adobe has implemented with Photoshop. So like there's a lot of new AI stuff in Photoshop that's really cool, and they're always adding stuff like that. But for tons of people, Affinity Photo is like all they need. And then playing around with Designer for Illustrator stuff, really cool. And then Publisher, I've actually been playing around with. It's the first time Publisher's been available on the iPad. I've been playing around with it to make like zines and stuff like that for Christmas presents. And so really
More
freaking cool.
subscription services need to have lifetime options like that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is they don't offer a subscription at all. Like, even when the deal runs out, you still just buy it once, and that's it. And like, I'm looking at...
That's just the price. I thought that was a subscription thing. That's nice.
And so like, obviously, there has to be some level of them continuing to compete better with Adobe. But for a lot of people, I don't know how you can justify. Because, okay, so I pay... What is it now? It's $600 a year for my Adobe subscription. And that's for all of the apps. And the argument commonly made is, well, when you consider the breadth of the programs you're getting, that's not a bad deal. And generally, I was someone who stood behind that myself. Because, yeah, you get Photoshop, Lightroom fancy version, which is dumb. You get After Effects, Audition, Premiere, Illustrator, InDesign. Like, you get all these crazy things, even on iPad and on the web. But if you don't use all of them, it's not added value to you. So if you're just a photographer or just a designer, if you want just that bundle, it's still $25 a month, which is still like super expensive versus $40 once or $100 once for all of them. Like, I don't know how Adobe can keep this up, especially with how many people are going to Resolve. How many people are going to Capture One in place of Lightroom or the other Lightroom alternatives? Like, those have been gaining traction. Like, Adobe already sustained itself on the enterprise market, and so maybe that's why they don't care. But, like, I really don't feel like a $600 a year subscription, especially a lock-in subscription that you still have to pay for even if you cancel. I don't see how they can sustain that once more competitors like this show up. I don't know. And that's not even to touch on the insane Pantone thing that Linus already made a video on that I don't really have anything to offer other than what the hell.
That was they paid like thousands of dollars for the
yeah,
Pantone chip tower.
and they still have to pay a subscription if they want to use it digitally because they removed it from Photoshop, which from what he said in the video, and I feel like he didn't harp on this enough because that's a really big deal if true, but I think he alluded to in the video that the Pantone colors in Photoshop hadn't been updated since 2010, and that might have actually been a point of strife between Pantone and Adobe. And if that's the case, then it wasn't really usable in the first place. Like, if it doesn't match the chips you have, then that's a problem. And so, like, if it genuinely hadn't been updated in 12 years, like, that is a big deal. Like, that's ridiculous. So, I don't know. The whole thing is a mess. But... And obviously there are ways people always point out that you can get discounts on the Adobe plan if you tell them you're going to cancel over and over, or you pretend to be a student way after you are, or whatever. But, like, at that point, just use the alternatives. Like, and speaking of that, like Vegas, like we were just joking about it, but Vegas is generally affordable. Usually the last versions of Vegas and HitFilm end up in humble bundles for like $15.
Yep.
Every year. Like, huge. Like,
yeah, I mean, I can tell you right now, the only thing that you gain from subscribing to HitFilm is access to most. There's
like
any of the higher. There's assets. There's some transitions that are locked behind a paywall, and there's access to some animation tools. But like, there are more than enough tutorials on how to like recreate those exact effects with just what's in HitFilm.
yeah.
So, like, don't feel like you need to spend $300 to get access to an Adobe editor just because everybody else uses it. Like, you know, if you want to follow their tutorials and do it exactly as they do, then obviously, yeah, you're gonna have to pay $300 for it. But there's always a cheaper alternative.
And most of the alternatives at this point do have tutorials. Like, the plugin ecosystems are something that keep people locked into Adobe, and that's something I still struggle with on Resolve, although my boy Patrick in the chat is doing a lot of the groundwork to like build that up. But like in terms of tutorials at this point, there's tons of tutorials for Vegas, for Resolve, for HitFilm. I think even Cinecom covers HitFilm sometimes. There's tutorials for Affinity. I'm going to be working on more over on Analog Dreams. Like, at that point, that's not really a bottleneck. Bottleneck. Darktable tutorials kind of suck, sadly. From what I've heard, honestly, Darktable just sucks. People only just use it because it's like the only one on Linux. So that's unfortunate. But I do wish, that is my one complaint. I do wish Affinity was on Linux because they're on iPad, they're on Windows and Mac, and they have otherwise all of these very like similar philosophy ideas that at some point I hope they port to Linux. But I know every company says that that's a massive undertaking and not always worth it. But you know.
Just shifting topics here. Did you touch on Wavelength 1.6?
I have not yet.
Well, now's a pretty good time.
This is exciting. Again, as we mentioned at the start of the show, the Stream Deck Plus did release this week. I covered it, and one of the big things about it that makes it compete with the likes of the Beacon Mix Create and such is that it unlocks Wavelink. So you no longer need a Wave interface if you don't want it to use Wavelink. Their audio mixing software akin to Beacon stuff or Voice Meter or the GoXLR stuff. You can just buy a Stream Deck with knobs on it, and you get Wavelink. And so that's what I'm using now. And they released an update with version 1.6 with this, which includes an improved plugin for the Stream Deck, which I showed off in my Stream Deck Plus video. And then that has some cool features like you can, toggle your different settings, your gain, you can adjust stepping, all of that. But they also introduced new effects. So they had previously released their own VST that used NVIDIA broadcast noise removal because they, this isn't official first-party statements, but the Zaymar one isn't great.
So you're running your mic through Wavelink right now?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes.
I didn't know that at all.
Yes.
That was opened up to you. So you have access to all the same routing and all the same VST and voice suppression.
I have all of my mixer added here as well as the Wave stuff. And yeah, you can literally on any device, even not from Wave, you can start adding all the effects and VSTs, which is freaking
you're just
cool.
using your mic.
Yes. And so yeah, no, it's really freaking cool. And so they introduced, if you have an NVIDIA 20 series or newer GPU, you got broadcast noise removal. They do not have room echo removal yet. I hope it comes soon. But then they also introduced their own CPU-based AI noise removal, which is probably just like RN noise that's in OBS, which is great. Like I use that more than NVIDIA's half the time anyway. And then they also introduced a new EQ plugin, which I think I am using here. Can I pull up the settings for it? Yeah, so it looks like a professional freaking plugin. It's got all the different curves, like it gives you control. It's not the most intuitive in terms of like you have to double click to get the dots to show up, and then I don't know that you can manually type in values and stuff. Like it's missing a little bit, but it's a big multi-band EQ that has the visuals that you expect. And then they don't have a compressor yet, so I hope that's coming soon. But otherwise, I mean, you can install the free ones. You got replugs, you got the kilohertz KHS ones. That's what I'm using right now. So you can add all of those to any audio device, by the way. It's not just your microphone. You can add it to your game sound, your system sound. So if you get a plugin that does, say, upward compression like I talked about in that video, although that's coming in OBS 29, you can do that kind of stuff. But you have all of this. Now, this is, the built-in effects are on Windows only, but you can use VSTs in general on Mac, which is still cool as well.
Very impressive.
So this is
again, you're not. You can use that. Do you have to have a Wave XLR to
no?
bring
I
that
mean,
in there?
you need a Wave XLR or the Stream Deck Plus, or the Wave USB mic.
Oh well, yeah, obviously.
So you still need a piece of hardware, which is unfortunate to the people who wanted them to distribute it on its own. Maybe at some point they'll probably do a subscription based on the Stream Deck mobile thing, but
no mini, no XL, no standard. You have to have Plus. An XLR or the mic.
Obviously, that's
still better than just the mic.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Obviously, it's motivation for them to push people to their new Stream Deck hardware, but I think their logic for it is the new Stream Deck has the knobs to actually use as an audio interface, whereas the others don't. You could obviously still assign things to buttons and theoretically get the same functionality, but they're not, they want to sell you something. So that's within reason, I think this was a good move. Like, this is better than just needing their audio hardware, because that was the big demand, was like, what if we don't want to use your audio hardware? You don't have to now. Does it come with custom virtual audio channels too?
I like.
Yeah, but you can. Like, okay, someone asked if it comes with a custom virtual audio channel. So I don't know what you mean by custom, but it comes with 4, 5, 6 named ones for like different effects, and then you can add 2 aux devices or aux mixes that are virtual mixes, and then you can add any of your own custom audio devices. And that means if you do have a GoXLR or a Beacon or voice meter set up, you can actually add those virtual devices to your wave mix as well. I think you only get 8 slots though. Let me add something real quick. Oh no, you can just keep adding. So I'm just gonna add a bunch here, see what happens. Okay, you get 10. So you get 10, 9 or 10 slots that you can mix, which is gonna be a driver latency thing. Like once you start doing more than that, you're gonna run into, oh, I'm not showing this. So I've added 10 slots here. But that's going to be a driver latency thing, like the way they have to mix it and stuff. Once you start adding a ton, it's going to really screw up your system. So I think it's compelling. You get 2 outputs. I guess I need to pull it back up. I don't know why I keep closing it. You get 2 output mixes.
VOD track kind of thing.
Yeah, so you get a mix for your headphones, which you can either use the headphone amp on the Wave XLR itself, which admittedly is not great if you have higher end headphones and are expecting quality, but you can also output it to another device. There is a little bit of latency, but in most of my testing as someone who is absolutely really uncomfortable with audio latency, most of the time it is not a big deal at all. Every once in a while on like slower PCs, I'll plug it in and I'm like, I don't know about this when I'm trying to route it to like a separate, like my monitor speakers or something. But for the most part, I've been routing it to my, I'm not going to do it now because it'll come through my speakers, but my big mixer in front of me that has outputs to my speakers, and it's been like not noticeable. And so you can do that with your monitor mix, and then you can do it with your stream mix, which just goes out to your stream as a device you can add. And then you can still add the individual devices in OBS if you want to build a separate submix in OBS for like your recording, so you can have your music and everything still separated. Plus, you get 2 separate mixes of your microphone if you use an actual Wave XLR, or I think the mics as well. And I'm going to show that through OBS really, really quick if it doesn't break things. So I'm not going to click it because it will break things, but in the OBS menu, you have, where is it? I have too many audio devices. So you've got the Wavelink stream mix. You've got the Wavelink monitor mix, which you can also add to OBS or whatever if you want to add it. You have the mic in on the Wave XLR, which is going to be the raw mic just gained. And you have the mic with microphone effects. So if you just want to do like goofy stylistic effects in the Wave XLR, for like echoes or voice changers or whatever, you can do that and still have a dry mix of your mic added as well, which is really cool. I did not expect them honestly to support that when they first introduced all this, and that is really powerful that you can do both at the same time. So I love that.
Wish I had another $200 for the new Stream Deck. Looks sweet. I'd like more buttons anyway. Well,
yeah, they might do a bigger version at some point. I don't know.
I mean, if you need more buttons, just get an XL. I'm sure that's going to go on Black Friday sale.
Oh, yeah.
So, but
especially because I'm imagining a V2 of the XL is coming at some point. Probably not this year, like maybe towards the end of next year. I don't know. I just hope Elgato doesn't do like what they did last year again, where they had like 5 different products drop on the same day.
I guess since we're coming up on 1 hour here, I don't know if you have it queued up, but I did want to give a shout out to Halo Infinite's Forge mode.
Oh yeah,
I've been seeing some amazing stuff coming out of that. It recently hit beta. It came out of flighting, I think. Now it's just available.
Yeah, you can just. I saw it. I've been playing a bunch the past couple of days. I haven't played Forge a bunch, but like it's been in there.
And I'm just seeing some incredible remakes of like classic Halo maps. I saw somebody ported. What was the airport level in Modern Warfare 2?
Oh, Terminal.
Somebody ported Terminal into it. Well, remade it, not ported. I saw Facing Worlds already. I saw a very faithful recreation of Blood Gulch.
Oh damn! Ubernex shut off Lockout, which looks incredible.
Yeah, it looks real good. You know, if you're been sitting there wondering, hey, when's Halo Infinite gonna get good? It's good. It's still got issues, but it's good.
Yeah, I'm planning on doing a Lost Saves video this weekend, assuming I get everything. We'll talk about upcoming videos at the end of the stream.
This shipment looks incredible.
Shipment looks incredible. I've been playing a bunch of Halo Infinite the past couple days. I did my rank. For whatever reason, I decided instead of not getting Unrusty first, I'd just go straight into my rank placement. So I got Plat 3, which doesn't feel great, but it's whatever. Like, it's better than, you know, not being plat at least. But like in Splitgate and stuff, I'm always diamond.
Nothing
but
like shaking off the rust by going into the sweat fest right away.
I mean, it was the best way to get straight in with the like with the BRs and stuff. So I had my reasons, but like it was all right. I do run into almost every ranked match I play, one of the teams is down at least a player, and so that's kind of annoying. But it has been a lot of fun. The sandbox right now is absolutely incredible. Not just like Forge, but like there's a Rumble Pit mode as the featured playlist right now, and so you get obviously like Fiesta and Free For All, but then you get like everyone has grapple hooks, stickies, and swords, and that's freaking awesome. And I just played last night a big team match where it was rockets and skewers. Like the sandbox is in a really good place. Forge is only going to explode that, and some of the people doing Forge maps are doing way better than the official maps will be.
The thing that's crazy, because I thought it was going to be like old Forge game or old Forge modes where you were just kind of like, here's an environment and you're just going to drop stuff in there. And we gave you a bunch of props where you can kind of create your own levels. This is like a proper level editor.
Yeah.
Like you can do terrain change. You can change the or customize the terrain. There's Facing Worlds. Yeah. You can, you know, build entirely brand new levels. I mean, obviously you have to use the assets that are provided to you, but like, look at this. Look what he's showing you right now.
You could not do this with like Halo 3 Forge.
I mean, you could stack a whole bunch of crates on top of crates, and you could kind of get an idea what it looked like. But
yeah, do you think we could get Cliff on a Halo Infinite night to play UT maps?
Sure. Do you think we could get Cliff on a Halo Infinite night to play Ice Cream Truck, Ice Cream Man, whatever that mode is called?
That would get vulgar quick, but yes. You can do scripting. I saw someone did like procedural terrain just by like shooting the ground. Like that was wild.
Yeah, I saw that one as well.
This is incredible. Like in a weird way. So I'm going to maintain, here's coagulation to go with the blood gulch. I'm going to maintain my statement that the game should not have released without core features like co-op and Forge and things like that. But in a way, had the game been more sustainable otherwise, this would make the wait worth it. Like the depth that this offers is worth a wait, absolutely. I think the game needed a lot more going for it in the meantime due to the audience response and stuff. But like, if we knew when it launched that this is what we were getting, if we waited, I don't think I would have said a word. I would have been like,
I suspect that the Forge mode wasn't this.
Oh,
when it was originally in there. Like I bet Forge mode was probably going to be exactly like the other Forge modes where you're just like, here's an environment and we're just going to let you drop stuff down, and then
they probably learned a lot from the MCC mod tools and what people were doing with that. Oh, containment. Right. Oh, I love this.
Now you're just getting excited.
I know, dude. I'm so stoked. I've been playing it like nonstop the past couple days, and I haven't touched Halo since like March. Like,
yeah, I seeing the videos of all these different custom maps and modes, this is exactly what I wanted.
No,
it's 100% the thing I wanted out of Halo Infinite.
Yeah, this is what you get 20 people in a Discord channel going, and like, this is nuts. Now I will say I have to, just because damnation, yes. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting way too excited. I will say, I still do not like how it feels on mouse. And I know other people experience it differently. I don't know what the difference is, but I feel like every action has too much delay. I have a million different clips where like I'm in a sword fight with someone and me just like spamming the sword, it just doesn't swing. And then like the sniper has a huge delay on it, and it just feels not right on mouse, especially bouncing back and forth between MCC and Infinite. And that still sucks. It is better, but it's still not good.
How's performance been? After, I guess a year later, how's the performance been for you? Because like I remember when it came out, like everybody was basically locked to 90 FPS. We couldn't get it over.
Now, to be fair, I'm playing on a 3090. Well, I was playing on 4080 and it ran brilliant there, but I'm trying not to flex that. But on the 3090, I was struggling to hit, like I would do, they also changed how the dynamic scaler ran. So like previously it was like always forced on, and now it's not necessarily, but like I set the min and the target FPS. Oh, Chiron, I'm sorry.
You need to close that window.
My favorite Halo 2 and Halo 1 maps. I set the min and target FPS to 120 and was struggling to hold that. Whereas playing last night, I switched back to the 3090 because I've been doing a bunch of encoding tests. RTX 4000 encoding is insane. I can't wait to show you. And I was having an easy time like going over that frame rate even in big teams. So that was surprising. Yeah. So
I mean, I'm on a brand new build. Like before this build, I was running on a 2080 Ti at 1440p, and then I threw a 3080 in there to see if that would help. And I couldn't get any like over 100 FPS, and now I've made my problem worse by playing everything natively in 4K. Oh, yeah. So
I really hope they implement like DLSS or FSR or whatever. Like that would be a game that needs those tech.
I would love to see DLSS come to Infinite.
I hope it comes with the ray tracing update, because that's coming soon, announced in the AMD stream. So, but of course, with the example they showed, it was a Spartan running out in like an outdoor map. Like you couldn't tell ray tracing was on.
Yeah, well,
it didn't show anything.
Yeah, but
that was the weirdest freaking demo. And to Greg in the chat,
I hope that they bring FSR, DLSS, all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
I don't feel like Halo Infinite looks as impressive as it probably would need to be in order to run as poorly as it sometimes does.
Yeah. It doesn't. Like, it looks beautiful in some cases, but it shouldn't run as poorly as it does. To answer Greg in the chat, I have both the Thrustmaster controller, and I now have the Ghoulie one with the fancy-ass thumbsticks everyone acts like needs to be required now. I cannot aim with the controller anymore. I spent 6 years not using a controller because the Xbox One was so bad that I can aim in Call of Duty on PS5. I cannot aim in Halo on a controller outside of the 360. I can go back and play 360 Halo, aim just fine. Modern control, whatever they did to the dead zones, whatever they did to the aiming mechanics, even when I switch back to the legacy mode in MCC, I just cannot aim with sticks anymore. And so I genuinely, as much as I get frustrated with how it feels on mouse and keyboard on Halo Infinite, I aim better still with mouse and keyboard, and I'd rather just stick with it because controllers hurt my hands anyway. Oh, by the way, we haven't had her on stream yet for public stream. This is Render, my new studio cat, by the way. She doesn't yell anymore, so that one video where she yelled the whole time, that's over, so she's good now.
I don't have my cats hanging around right now because it's so damn cold. They're all hiding and trying to stay warm. But yeah, so I felt like ending on a high note or a happier note there was probably the way to go there.
Yeah,
but,
I want to mention a couple last things as we say goodbye here. Those of you who have been asking about it, Nebula classes are now wrapped into the core Nebula subscription now. So if you are a Nebula subscription, you get access to classes, which is pretty cool. I'm still working on mine, so you can't see me in them, but that's fine. I already mentioned my original. For next week, we have a lot of plans this weekend, and it's a holiday week next week, so I make no promises that anything will get out. But for next week, I have 2 videos that I'm very excited for. One is about an introduction to Mastodon and the Fediverse and all of that I think is going to be a really compelling video. The other is a video on RTX 4000 encoding, because it is the most mind-blown I've been with technology in a very long time. The possibilities you can do on a 4080, on a 4090, and presumably a 4070, 4060 is absolute. Like, you're not going to believe. There are people who are going to say that I'm lying in the video. It is going to be that big of a deal. So that is going to be my top priority. We'll get to the Mastodon stuff later, but it's going to be freaking great. Thank you for watching, everybody. This was a good, normal show.
One thing I'll add, and then we can close out. More than a couple people have been asking, where is Slayer Wars? I'm still working on it. So backing track, Slayer Wars, that will come out when it's ready. I'm just busy, so you gotta give me time. And for those asking about where Save Point is, why it's not available for download, my PC crashed. So those files are currently, they're not gone, but I will get that up available for download as soon as I can. Thank you for being patient. You can stream it. It's available everywhere right now. You can stream it. You might find it under a different backing track account over on Spotify right now because there's some weird.
Yeah.
They had some weird database thing. I already fixed it. It'll just pop over one day. But that is us. You're using the right thing. I know it looks weird, but it's correct. So, aside from that, I got nothing else.
Yeah, join us on Discord, discord.gg/eposfox, not /merch, as I put in the channel.
/bracket /.
And reminder again, next weekend will be your last opportunity to pick up merch. It'll go on sale for 20% off on Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday, and then it's gone. Thank you for watching. Remember to be kind. Rewind. I'm going to stop trying to type now.
Bye.